my goal was to become a professional engineer. And I know regardless, I would still have to face it someday. And all my family members, all my cousins who studied engineering, they're all licensed engineers. So I felt the pressure that I had to. I was really nervous and worried, honestly. I wasn't sure if I could do it. Because after the first time I took it, I was discouraged. And the second time I took it again, I was discouraged because, it takes so much out of you, especially when you're working.
Yeah.
That feeling was just so disappointing that I wasn't sure if I wanted to see it through anymore.
How did you overcome that feeling and what kept you motivated to try again this the third time and not having the fear of failing again?
I just didn't want the FE to beat me. I would always write my name down and put the EIT in front of it on a scratch paper anytime I'm taking study breaks, just so, something to push me saying, okay, this is the certificate that I would get at the end of my name when I'm done.
Was there anything else that you did that helped you stay disciplined over the months of the studying?
When I can't get the answer, I would watch your videos and then I understand, okay, this is where my mistake is. Yeah. And the second question that I tried attempting, I would have a better understanding because of, the foundation you kind of gave us on the first problem. The way you explained it, it would give us a hint on how to solve the second problem.
Mm-hmm.
When I opened and I saw that pass, I was so happy. I was really excited.
Dapo, can you tell us about your background? When did you graduate and what did you study?
Absolutely. I graduated in 2017, December 2017, in civil engineering from the University of Colorado. That's about 8 years now from today. I've been in the construction industry after school. I started working in the construction engineering sector, heavy civil, for 7 years of my career.
Okay. Which FE exam did you take?
I took the FE civil. I thought it was going to be more relatable because I'm doing civil engineering, and I felt it would save me time because some of the courses I'm applying it daily, especially like at the construction section. I felt I could kind of relate to that more because that's what I'm doing.
Got you. Kind of makes sense. Did you feel like college prepared you for the FE exam?
I feel like it gave me an idea of what it should be, like the foundations of it. But having everything properly structured in one source, I don't think so. I think it's referencing notes from second year, third year, fourth year, and it's very hard for you to have all that in your final year.
Mm, got you. Um, why did you take the FE exam? Was it required for your job?
No, it wasn't actually. But my goal was to become a professional engineer. And I know regardless, I would still have to face it someday. And all my family members, all my cousins who studied engineering, they're all licensed engineers. So I felt the pressure that I had to keep, keep up with them.
Okay. And when you started preparing for the FE exam, did you know what you were getting into? Were you a little nervous about taking the FE?
Yeah, extremely nervous because I remember back in high school, in college, when I took it the first time, I didn't pass. So I was
Mm,
very nervous because I've seen the exam questions before and
mm.
how long it is to take it. Um, so I was a little bit nervous. You know, I was really nervous and worried, honestly. I wasn't sure if I could do it.
So did you have to take it to graduate? Is that
Yes, we
why you
had to
took it?
take, yes, you had to take it to graduate at that time, but you didn't
Okay.
have to pass it. You just had to take it to graduate.
Okay. So you took it, you failed, and then that gave you an idea of what this exam is about. And that probably scared you because you're like, whoa, this
Yep,
is this is not a joke.
exactly, exactly.
When did you start studying again for it?
So I've taken the exam. I took the exam 3 times. I
Three
took it the
times?
first time. I took it the first time right after college, 2017. and I took it the second time again in 2020. Um, so I was studying while I was also working. The way I kind of studied was I worked till 5, then sometimes I'll stay in the office from 5 to 7 p.m. studying. And on the weekends, I'll do my bigger bulk the second time I took it. But I didn't have the right material to study, so I didn't pass.
Mm.
But this time that I took it, the third time that I took it now, I started studying in February and I took the exam in May.
Oh,
So
wow.
roughly 3 to 4 months.
Okay. Okay, so I'm noticing here a big gap between the exams. So the first time you took it 2017 and you're like, okay, I'm gonna forget about this for a minute. 2020, you started studying for it.
Yeah.
You failed, and then you waited almost 5 years to try again. That's a big gap between the second time and the third time. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
how did you get yourself to start studying again? Why did it take you so long?
Because after the first time I took it, I was discouraged. And the second time I took it again, I was discouraged because, it takes so much out of you, especially when you're working,
Yeah,
to also create time to study. That feeling was just so disappointing that I wasn't sure if I wanted to see it through anymore.
yeah.
I, I, I wasn't sure if I wanted to see it through anymore. I didn't want to go through that pain of studying and not succeeding again. So that was the big reason for those longer gaps. Then I decided to change my career and go into design. I left construction and I
Oh,
was trying to pivot towards design. So I knew I needed that in design.
yeah.
And that was one of the big push that made me want to keep on going.
Interesting. Okay. Um, that makes sense. It was like a bigger goal for you to succeed and get to the field that you want to be in. You need the FE, and that was your biggest why, basically, to keep going.
Exactly.
Yeah. So could you walk us through a little bit to your study material that you used for your second attempt?
As the second attempt, I used the big Michael Lindbergh FE book.
Okay.
That was majority what I used. Um, and yeah, I used Michael Lindbergh. And I think at that time I started watching some of your videos on YouTube, but I was pretty much teaching myself through the textbook.
Mm,
That was the issue. I was trying to teach myself through the textbook. And when you're teaching yourself through the textbook, you might get the answer right, but you're teaching yourself the wrong way.
oh,
You,
interesting.
you know, because for me, I felt like I'm better with lectures when someone's explaining and I'm taking notes, it's easier. But when I'm trying to teach myself, it's a little bit challenging. And that was my issue that I remembered was like, I will teach myself how to solve a problem, but I'm jumping a step and I still get the answer right, but I'm really not getting the answer right. I'm only getting it for that type of question. I'm not getting the concept down.
Yeah. Yeah. Or sometimes you even like guess how we got to the end, where it's like it just, you're just guessing the steps, you're just guessing why they made all these assumptions and you don't really grasp the concepts. And for the FE exam, you need to have a good foundation. So you didn't get any course or anything in 2020. You just used books.
I just use books.
Got you. Okay. And how long did you study for the FE in 2020? How many
I
months?
studied I studied for about 6 months,
Six
and
months.
I think that was something you mentioned when I got your course in those intro videos. You mentioned about burnout, right?
Mm,
And not trying to study for too long because there's a diminishing return after a while where you
yeah.
start burning out and you lose the zeal to want to do it. So I found the sweet spot to be around 3 to 5 months. Like
Mm,
going past 4 months, then because it's taking so much out of for me, it was taking so much out of my life that I wasn't encouraged to keep on going anymore.
got you. Um, so when you took it the third time you studied, you said 3 to 4 months. and you make sure that you are not burning out. Can you walk us through your schedule and what it looked like and how many hours did you spend studying during the week and the weekend?
So on the weekdays from Monday to Fridays, I studied right after work. So I get home, I get off of work around 5 after my commute. I grab dinner, then I start studying from 7 p.m. to 10 p.m.
Okay.
And uh, based on how your courses are designed by topics, right? Sometimes I'm really, like I'm really pushing myself to finish a topic.
Okay.
You, you know,
Yeah.
I said I gave myself like deadlines, like okay, this, based on how you've broken down your courses from, let's say from question 1 to 40, this week I want to do 20. Sometimes you don't
Mm-hmm.
meet those goals because, the topics are very in-depth.
Mm.
But I gave myself milestones saying, okay, in 2 weeks I want to finish stats. In 1 week I want to finish this, right? I gave myself all those deadlines. So
Okay.
that's what was pushing me every time I was studying on the weekdays. And if I was really enjoying the topic, I could go till 11.
Oh,
I'll
wow.
study from 7 to 11 p.m. Then on Saturdays and Sundays, that's when mo the heavy amount of my studying is. I would start around 8 or 10 a.m. and go all the way to 5.
And you did that Saturday and Sunday?
I did that Saturdays and
Okay.
Sundays.
Okay. So base what I'm getting at is I feel like you kind of enjoyed the process a little bit. How did it feel the third time when you were studying for it? How different was it from the second time when you were studying on your own?
Oh, it was extremely different. Especially just even the first topic, which is the mathematics on your program. So many questions that I thought I knew, I didn't know. And I
Mm,
would try to solve it first. When I can't get the answer, I would watch your videos and then I understand, okay, this is where my mistake is. Yeah. And the second question that I tried attempting, I would have a better understanding because of, the foundation you kind of gave us on the first problem. The way you explained it, it would give us a hint on how to solve the second problem.
mm,
So I felt like I was being guided the whole time versus
mm.
me myself, where, okay, I missed a question. I go to the textbook and I open a chapter and I'm trying to understand it.
Yeah. Did you feel like you wasted more time as well when you were studying with the book, trying to figure it out, right?
Yes, I felt that was not effective. That was not effective at all.
Yeah. Yeah. So you mentioned earlier that when you failed the FE exam the first and the second time you felt really disappointed and that's why it took you a couple years to get back to it. How did you overcome that feeling and what kept you motivated to try again this the third time and not having the fear of failing again?
That's a really good question, Kenza. Honestly, I just didn't want the FE to beat me. I didn't want it to be the thing that
Mm,
made me give up because I failed it. I didn't want it for me to say, you know what, okay, I failed it. I'm not taking it anymore. I couldn't live with that. I felt like
mm.
regardless of what I'm doing, I would feel like there's something that I gave up on, and I didn't want that. I didn't like that feeling. So, and also when, in engineering, when you work around so many people who have their FEs and PEs, I knew talking to so many people, they said, oh, I didn't pass it the first time. It took me multiple times. So I know that I'm not the only one who's facing this issue. The thing is just me not giving up. So that
Yeah,
was kind of what pushed me, kept on pushing me. And I would always write my name down and put the EIT in front of it on a scratch paper anytime I'm taking study breaks, just so, something to push me saying, okay, this is the certificate that I would get at the end of my name when I'm done.
I love that. That's like your motivation right there. Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah. That's really awesome. And I absolutely agree with you on the what you said, like not giving up. I think that's the biggest thing. It's like when people fail, um, it's not the end, right? What matters is that you keep going till you get it. So I like you how you phrased it. Like it's almost felt like a fight. It was like either me or the FE. So we're gonna go in a fight, and I'm gonna make sure I win and I pass this thing. I like the way, that kind of mindset. It really makes you to keep going. Let's talk a little bit about resources. Could you tell us which resources did you use on your last attempt?
Okay, so I used your course, the morning and the afternoon course, and I also used the FE exam, the practice exam provided by NCEES. I used the two exams. They have an interaction one where it's like 50 problems, and I got that program, and I also got the NCEES practice book of 100 problems. Those were the two resources that I used.
Okay. How did you come across our courses?
I came across your course on YouTube while I was in my process of studying. If there was any question I couldn't solve and I typed it into YouTube, your program came up, and that's how I saw it. And I clicked on the link, and so, oh, you have everything for civil, and that's why I got it.
Oh, wow. Okay. So just from watching our videos that made you decide to invest in the course.
Yeah, because I got your free programs on YouTube. I was watching the
Yeah.
free programs on YouTube, and the way you kind of explained it, I felt okay. Oh, the questions are similar to what I was running into
Mm,
in a practice problem, and you're explaining it in depth. So I was willing to give it a shot. And when I saw you had everything listed out by topics too, I was like, why not?
mm. Okay, cool. And what are some of the things that you liked about our courses and you felt that it really helps you pass your FE exam?
I think how practical the problems were. And you get you touched every subject that if you see a problem, you wouldn't say, "Oh, I haven't seen this before." The question now is, can I remember? But it's not, I haven't seen this before. So that's the thing I
Mm,
liked about your course. I felt like you covered every single thing and you went into depth to understand like the reason why. It wasn't just about, okay, this is why we need to solve it. You're explaining the history behind it too.
mm,
So that was what I liked about your course and how everything was broken out into topics. And I think the topics kind of matched how the questions will come out on the exam. Like, okay, mathematics first, followed by whatever's next. Um,
yeah,
uh, so I liked how you kind of broke it down. And yeah, those were the things I really liked about your program.
that's awesome. And so you took the, did you only take two practice exams total by the NCS and the interactive one? Was there any other practice exam did you take?
Those are the only two I took.
Okay. You didn't take the practice exams that came with the bundle with the courses?
What, your course?
Yeah.
Oh, I think I did, but I didn't
Okay.
take it again. I probably did while I was like solving the
S-
problem. If I finish
Gotcha.
this topic, I'll go to it and solve it.
Okay. Okay. You used it like as a study guide.
Exactly. I didn't really take it as like when I'm done with your course, I should go in and study and take the whole
Okay.
thing.
Hmm. Interesting. It's really cool to see how people use our practice exams. So that's why I always like to ask. Some people use it as a study guide, like you said. Some people take it and then they use it as a study guide. But okay, that's pretty cool. Did you find, this is a question I always like to ask, did you find the practice exam by the NCS and the interactive one that they just launched, I think, a couple months ago? It might have been last year. Did you feel like it was relevant and close to your exam?
I I would say the format is close to the exam,
Okay.
like kind of how the questions are being structured. Yes, but the exact question, no.
No, absolutely. Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
no.
No. Yeah. They definitely changed the questions. What about like the difficulty level? Did you feel like your exam was more difficult or same as
I
the
think
practice exams?
I would say it was quite
Okay.
the same level of difficulty. Um, but that's what I'm saying. I've taken the exam like three times, right?
Yeah.
So I failed it twice. Then the third time I was taking it, to me, I felt maybe in my head I'm paying attention to how difficult the ones I'm getting wrong are because, I'm thinking to myself, well, I didn't pass this before, so this is the reason why. Uh,
Mm,
so in actuality, maybe the exam wasn't really that difficult as the practice exam, but to me, I felt like it was because the practice exam, the first time I opened it was very difficult. So I wanted to like really hit it down. Not sure if
gotcha.
that's making any sense.
Yeah, no, it does. It does make sense. Yeah, I get that. I think I also like I think preparation too, right? So if you like prepared now, you might not feel the exam was that difficult versus the first two times that you took it because you weren't really prepared. And then also like the same way when I took the NCS practice exam, I thought it was difficult at first. I think partly also because I was nervous. But then when I studied the errors and the mistake, I was like, oh, this is not so bad. Um, yes, it's gonna make sense. Was there any topics that you spent more time on studying for them and why?
Yes, I spent a lot of time studying the
Mm,
structural section, and I think the other one that I spent a lot of time studying was it was either fluid or mechanics and material, but oh yes, geotechnical, structural, and fluids and mechanics and material.
okay. Were these topics your weakness or were there just like more stuff in there and you just needed to focus more time on them?
There was a lot of stuff in there that I needed to focus on, but my weakness initially was the structural section.
Mm. How do you feel about structures now?
I feel pretty good. On the exam, I didn't think it was that bad because I spent so much time studying for that structural section.
Yeah,
Uh, but initially, when I started, I wasn't really good at structurals in any way, but the program really helped me out.
that's awesome. That's great. Let's see. When you were preparing for the third attempt, was there um were you afraid of failing it again? Did that cross your mind?
100% Kenza. I was nervous as hell. Even registering, I wasn't sure. The reason why I took so many long breaks after I failed was because it hurt me. The amount of hours that I put in to study for it and I didn't succeed. It's a feeling that's not fun at all.
Yeah,
And I was very nervous that what about if this happens again? Like, how would I deal with this? Uh, so I was extremely nervous. I wouldn't say like I felt pretty good about it. I was nervous all the way to the end. But that was the thing that motivated me in studying too, was I know I was nervous and I didn't want to take this again. So I spent so much time putting in the hours, making
mm,
sure I'm really getting this material down. Like
yeah,
making sure I'm giving it my all. Like I'm not being distracted when I'm studying. I'm not on my phone. Like, if I say I'm putting 2 hours in, I'm really putting 2 hours in. I have my headphones on and I'm just solving the problem.
yeah. You wanted to make sure that you went in prepared. Let me ask you this. If you would have failed it again, let's just pretend you would have failed it again. How do you think you would have felt more disappointed, or would you have had a different mindset?
I think I would have felt disappointed, but I would also think about it that, okay, I have an idea of what the question looks like now, and I've put in a decent amount of hours in to study. So let me just continue now so I don't
Yeah,
have to start afresh. That would be how I kind of program it in my head.
yeah,
That was at the back of my head. It's not good to say, but I was like, okay, if I fail the exam, May, for example, I already told myself I'm gonna take a break June and July, I'm back on it again, and I have to take the exam October.
that's smart. I like that. And that's exactly why I'm asking you that question because I feel like a lot of people when they fail the FE, they just don't want to deal with it again or go through those emotions. But honestly, at the end of the day, like it really doesn't matter how many times you fail. I was actually interviewing a student just right before you, and she said something really interesting. I never thought about it that way, but she mentioned something about like college. When we go take an exam, our final exams in college, it had such a big impact on us because like if you fail that exam, you might end up failing the class. That ends up going on your transcripts, and then you have to retake the class. That might even affect your graduation date because now you can't take certain classes because it's a prerequisite. And so it has such huge impact on us if we fail a class in college or even high school, right? And I think we take that with us. We carry that with us with the FE exam, whereas the FE exam is so different. It's like it doesn't matter how many times you fail. You just keep taking it. You just keep studying your weaknesses, study more, find better resources, stay consistent, have a good schedule, and just keep at it. And I think when she said that, I was like, oh my God, I think that's exactly why people are so scared of failing the FE, or when they do fail, we feel such a huge disappointment.
Yeah, no, I
Yeah,
agree with your statement as well.
yeah. It's so different. But I'm so glad you had that. And she had the same thing. She was like, I was ready to fail it. Like I was ready to go, like, if I fail, I'll just keep studying. I'll take it again. And so that's why I wanted to ask you that, just for the audience and the viewers, who failed the FE exam before and in the same situation as you, and they're just scared to face it again. I would say just keep going and you'll get there. Um, What was the hardest part of studying for you? Was it the content? Was it discipline? Was it just balancing life? Because it seems like you had like no life based on this schedule. You studied, you worked, and then from 7 to 10, you would just study, and then the weekend 8 to 5. Like I'm not seeing anything fun here. Um, so what was the hardest part about the FE exam?
As you said, it was the schedule. I really looked into like six to pass the exam this time around. I made sure I didn't really take breaks, but honestly, breaks are needed. Like
Yeah.
one of my coworkers, because I was studying so much, he used to tell me he would say, you need to schedule time for fun, right? Like
Mm,
it's not just all studying too. You have to like take time and like have fun. So some Saturdays I would start my studying in the evenings. I'll go hang out
mm,
with my friends, right? Do things that make me happy. Go to the gym. I made sure I still kept on working out. Like sure, I wasn't going as much as I used to, but I made sure things that brought me like that made me happy and fulfilled, I didn't give that up during this effort. But the weekdays was tough, I'll be honest, especially after work. You're burnt out. You get back home around 5. You just want to eat and sleep, right?
yeah.
Or me choosing to cancel going to the gym afterwards. Instead, I come home, shower, and start studying again. And you're looking at the window. It's daylight when you're done studying. It's dark, right?
Yeah.
That was really difficult. Not doing all the things that I used to do before with my free time to lock in. But I knew it wasn't going to be forever. It was just for 3 months or 4 months.
Yeah.
So that was tough, was finding a way to balance everything.
That makes sense. Was there anything else that you did that helped you stay disciplined over the months of the studying?
I, I think printing out the topics, that the reference manual usually gives you, the 15 topics that would be on those subjects, right? And every time I finish every section, I highlight it and me giving myself, okay, week 1 to week 2, I'm going to study this, week 3 to week 4. I
Mm,
think having that pinned to my wall and I'm looking at it every day when I'm studying and I'm
mm,
highlighting, crossing it out, kind of made me feel like, okay, I'm closer to the finish line. I'm closer to completing all the topics. So that was something that drove me. And
mm,
I also gave myself a deadline saying by May, I need to take this exam.
mm,
Like I've studied so much all the way for February. By May, I need to take this exam. I don't want it to drag during summer. I want to
mm,
hang out with my family and my friends this summer. So I need to get everything done now before summer.
mm. Got you. So you had a lot of mini deadlines And then you also just didn't want to study during the summer, so you're like, we gotta get this down.
We gotta get it down.
Yeah, I love that. I like that. That's, that motivated you to keep showing up and to keep studying, right? Um,
Right.
what were some of the things that you tried that you feel like it didn't work and you wouldn't recommend to students?
One of the things that I tried that it didn't work, I would say it's my bad habit, which is when you're studying, sometimes you're also on your phone.
Mm,
For me, the two times that I failed, that was a bad habit that I had. I'm studying and my phone is like right next to me. I'm picking it up like mid breaks. Like after I solve a question, I pick up my phone and I'm like scrolling or getting distracted, taking short breaks. So whenever I was studying, I'm charging my phone in my room. I'm not bringing it next to me where I'm studying because I didn't want to pick it up.
mm,
Um, Another thing I would say is studying without having a cheat sheet. Like it's very important as you go through those topics, that key items, not even
mm,
key items, but if there's something that you know that, okay, I don't think I'm going to remember this, writing it down was so crucial because having a cheat sheet at the end of the day, I could easily just scroll through and reference it if I'm trying to solve another problem, right? That was something that I didn't do the first time I was studying.
mm. I
And
love that.
consistency too. Last time I studied, I was not consistent. I would study, maybe take 2 weeks off, come back again and pick it up.
Mm,
But I had to be consistent this time. I had to go through like, okay, Monday I'm studying, Tuesday I'm studying, Wednesday I'm studying, Thursday I'm studying, Friday I'm studying, Saturday, break in the morning, study later, continue studying. Like I had to make sure I kept to the promise that I promised myself of how many hours I wanted to put in.
when did you come up with your schedule?
Um, I would say like a week into me watching your material. When I watched the material, I started by watching the first video, and I think the first video, before going into any problems, you talk about like a schedule. I think you even give us like an example of a schedule to make,
Mhm.
right? So I used that. I watched that first, and as I started studying, I I observed my work days. Like, okay, this is what my work day looks like, and these are the hours that I'm free. So this is where I can put it in. So I started working on my schedule and refining it a week into starting the course.
Okay, that's awesome. Did you adjust your schedule did you change it while when you kept studying? Did you try to be rigid and did you follow exactly the schedule that you first created?
I tried to be structured and rigid, as you mentioned, and follow the exact schedule I made because I wanted to keep it consistent. Like
Wow.
I remember you also said something in a video about like don't eat while you're studying. Like I don't know if you remember, but you're basically talking about like, okay, the place where you're studying, let it be just studying here.
Yep.
Don't
Yeah.
turn it to the dining table. Like don't do this and don't do that.
Yeah.
On how you want to wire your brain when it comes to studying. So I tried to be structured. I didn't want to keep on changing it. I wanted to be consistent. Uh, but there were a few times when I changed it on the weekends if I want to hang out with my friends. Like, sure, I'll start studying later but I made sure I studied. But the weekdays from 7 to 9 or 10, I had no option.
Wow.
That was all. That had to happen.
That's really cool. Um, you have such a great discipline that for you it was just like it's not even an option. Um, did you always have that?
I I didn't, but when I started working, I think work gives you a structure, whether you like it or not, because you have to
Mm,
wake up and show up to the office at a certain time, right?
yeah,
So just from that, right? And especially in engineering school too, right? You know, engineering is just such a challenging discipline in school that for you to succeed, you to some degree you need to have structure.
yeah.
So I tried pairing all that, saying like, hey, if I want to succeed, everything within my will, within my control, I need to make sure I have it organized so I can succeed.
I love that. That's really cool. Um, did you have a support system who encouraged you through the process?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I had friends too who are in school and we motivated each other, right? I had family members, as I mentioned. I have family members who are also engineers and they've taken the exam. So I had weekly check-ins of people telling me like, hey, keep
Mm,
going, man. Keep going, dude. Just study and take the exam. I think that's very important. People to
mm,
encourage you is very important.
yeah. It's like almost you see the people believing in you. And you're like, well, I have to now believe in myself because all these people really believe I can do it. And that's so powerful.
Yeah.
It's very, very helpful. Um, were there any valuable lessons that you learned that helped you succeed?
Big valuable lesson that I can think of now is not giving up. I think that's one thing this exam really showed to me is one, not giving up. And people's experience might not be your experience. Somebody takes the exam and said it's extremely difficult. Might not be your experience. You might go in and it's easy. Somebody might take the exam and say it's super easy. You go in and it's more challenging for you. But
Mm,
at the end of the day, at the end of the day, remembering not to give up is key. Like I took the exam 3 times and I know I wouldn't be able to pass if I gave up. So it's not giving up. Like that was one thing I learned from this exam is don't give up. At the end of the day, you would pass. Like, don't give up.
yeah, I 100% agree with that. Um, did you have any good study tips? Like, did you have a way to study and make sure that you're going to retain all the information for your FE exam?
I would say having a cheat sheet really helps and keeping
Cheat.
your note organized, right? Like keeping those notes organized is super helpful. Or I always had my first page as the cheat sheet of that topic.
Mm,
So when I'm done with that first page and I go into another topic, let's say I'm going into like probabilities or mechanics and materials, the first page of that mechanics and material in my book or my binder is my cheat sheet. So I think having a cheat sheet is so important. That would be like one good study tip I would recommend is
okay, awesome.
keeping that cheat sheet.
Great. Okay, let's talk about the exam. So before you went into the exam, were you nervous?
I was nervous. I was really, really nervous. The way the exam center is set up, looking at the screen, uh, okay, I'm going in now. When I come out, it's after 6 hours, right? So I was really nervous.
How did it go? Did you have a strategy to answering questions? Did you flag? How many questions did you guess? How was your exam overall?
To me, I thought the exam was okay. I wouldn't say I walked in feeling like, oh, I'm gonna pass or like I got this. I felt, when you start, you get nervous, right? So you're working through your nerves of, oh, this question felt so easy to solve. Did I solve it the right way? Right? Then I kept
Yeah.
on going. Then you run into questions that you know you can solve, but it's going to take a lot of hours, or you're like, I totally forgot this. Then you have to
Yeah.
flag it, right?
Yeah.
So I flagged a bunch of questions and I came back again and I solved them. But overall, I thought the exam was quite challenging. It wasn't as easy as I would have expected. I felt prepared. I felt
Wow.
like, okay, I got some answers right, but there were
Yeah.
those questions that I wasn't sure of. Like
Yeah.
I,
This goes back to what you said earlier, where because maybe you focus on the questions that you didn't get right, and then that's makes you think that the exam overall was difficult because you focus versus focusing on the just, the questions that you actually got right. Does that make sense? I think that's
That
what
makes a
you
whole
were
lot of sense.
referring to earlier.
Yeah.
Um, so did you have a lot of conceptual questions?
Yes, the FE is they have a lot of conceptual questions. And that's the good thing. I think the way your program is set up too, you solve a lot of conceptual questions.
Mm,
I don't want to go into the topic, but like there's a subject that it's heavy conceptual questions. And that's why I mentioned like to me the cheat sheet was so important, right?
mm,
Because when you're writing that, especially for mechanics because there's you're talking about ductility, you're talking about like
yeah.
the mood diagram. There's so many things, right? That okay, I need to understand what this means, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there were a lot of conceptual questions on the FE.
Wow. Was it like, what would you say, around 20, 30 questions, 40,
I would say like 20 to 30.
20 or 30? Okay. So there were a lot of difficult questions. And do you remember how many questions you guessed?
I can't remember.
No.
I can't, I can't remember. I would say like 20 questions, I guess, on 20
20?
questions.
Yeah. How did you do with the time management? Did you finish the exam on time?
I did. I finished the
Okay.
exam like 30 minutes before the time
Oh,
ended.
wow. Okay. That's
Yes,
pretty quick.
yeah, I finished it 30 minutes before the time ended. I didn't uh I felt like I had to just stay there longer too at the end of the day. Like I wanted to stay to make sure I depleted the whole time and I just didn't like rush through any questions. But I also didn't want to stay there too long where I start guessing and changing
Hmm.
the questions that I think I got right.
Yeah. Yeah. That's smart. Um, how many hours did you spend in the morning?
The morning section, I spent about I think like 2 hours, 2 hours, 15 minutes. I tried to save more time for the afternoon section.
Okay. Which section did you feel more difficult? The afternoon or the morning?
I think the afternoon was more difficult
More,
because the
yeah.
afternoon is very heavy civil. It's very you're diving into all the engineering topics. You're diving into like, fluids. I mean, you're diving into hydrology, you're diving into geo, structural, construction, environmental. You're really, really getting into those big topics. So
Yeah.
that was very difficult for me. And the afternoon was the most difficult.
Mm. Were there any topics you found surprisingly easy or surprisingly difficult on the exam day?
I thought construction for me was surprisingly easy,
Okay.
but especially I think because that's the field that I'm
Right.
working in.
Yeah.
So some of all those questions, the surveying, all those questions, I'm doing them on a daily basis, right?
Okay.
So to me, it was I could really I felt like I saved so much time on those topics.
Mm.
Um, a topic that I thought was surprisingly easy as well too was structurals.
Oh,
Yeah, because for me, I spent so much time studying that structural
yeah.
section that the exam felt easier than all the other structural problems that I was
Mm.
practicing.
Oh,
And,
that's
and one
pretty.
that was very difficult for me, I think, was the environmental.
Mm.
I I thought it was challenging.
Did you have a lot of conceptual questions in that section?
Yes, we did. I
You
had some
did.
conceptual questions and I couldn't remember.
Yeah. Yeah. That's why it's tricky when you get conceptual questions because it's like you either know it or you don't. You can't like try to solve it, or try to grab an equation and solve and then it's yeah, it's either you know the concepts or you don't, and that makes it difficult. But if you do know the answer, then it takes you only 30 seconds to figure it out. So then you save a lot of time. Um, so that's why, like conceptual questions, they're good and bad, both at the same time. Depends on how much you know. Um, how did you feel when you left the exam?
I felt that I've given it my all.
Yeah.
I felt like I followed it. I saw it through. But I think it takes about a week before you get your score.
Mm-hmm.
So I went back home and I was really questioning myself. Am I sure that I got this right this time around? It felt a lot easier than all the other times I took it,
Mm,
but I also don't feel like I got 100% of all the questions right.
mm.
So I didn't know how it was going to go, but I knew like I gave it my all when I took the exam.
A week later, you get your results.
A
How
week
did you
later,
feel?
when I opened and I saw that pass, I was so happy. I was really excited.
Yeah, that's awesome. Um, Now that you have passed your FE exam, how did it uh, affect your confidence and your career?
It made me feel good. It made me feel like I accomplished something, right? And as I said, not giving up, it showed how not giving up is so important. And it made me realize, like, even at work, I might get something wrong, but that doesn't mean I can never get it right. If I don't
Mm,
understand something someone's explaining to me, that doesn't mean like I would never understand it at the end of the day. I would get it. It might just take some time, but I would end up getting it. And it made me feel like, I deserve, like I'm a step closer to becoming a professional engineer. Like I deserve to be here. I'm smart.
that's awesome. I love that. So you're planning to take the PE?
Yes.
Did you decide like are you gonna take it soon or are you gonna wait?
I'm gonna take it soon.
That's awesome. That's really cool. Have you decided which PE you want to take?
I'm doing a PE construction.
Construction. Okay, that's so cool. Um, let's see. I think that's pretty much all the questions. I think I have one last question. This is always how I usually end these interviews. If a student comes up to you and asks you to list three things that really helped you pass your FE exam, what would you say to them?
Consistency with studying, cheat sheets,
Oh yeah,
and don't give up. It's fine if you get it wrong.
love that. Dapo, thank you so much for joining me today and sharing your journey. You had a lot of ups and downs and struggles, and you felt disappointed a few times after you failed the FE exam. And I'm so, so glad you didn't give up and you kept going and you proved yourself that you can do this. And I'm so happy for you and so proud of you. You did an amazing work, very impressive. Your schedule was very intense, but it's very impressive what you have accomplished within that timeline. And thank you so much for sharing your story with us today.
Thank you, Kenza. Thank you for everything.